Montreal Unlimited fans, I'm Garrow. Welcome to my house in Montreal. Come on in, let's take a look. So I'm New York City interior designer, but I'm originally from Montreal, and I grew up here. And ironically, I actually have not spent this much time in Montreal ever since I was a child. I've actually lived in New York City for over 25 years, but luckily I had my house here, and I've had a lot of projects up here. And during this whole crisis, I actually decided that I would isolate in my house here. My house is actually very comfortable, and it's very enjoyable to be here. I'll give you a quick tour. This is my living room right off of the entry foyer. Voila. Beautiful space. We're so lucky to have large rooms in Montreal. The houses are actually quite generous. This is a beautiful architectural gem of a house. It's a Georgian style. The courtyard that we live in was built in the 1920s. And it is absolutely a stunning, beautiful courtyard. It's lovely. I love it. And the symmetry of the room is what really drew me to the space. And I love the interiors of this house. It was just a pleasure to decorate. So now we're in the entry foyer. This is the stair hall. The entry foyer is the front to back stair here. And off of the entry foyer is a little powder room, which we'll take a quick peek in there in a minute. Well, let's go to the dining room first. This is actually the room that most people know my work from. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, my handle is Garrow Designs. If you don't follow me, it's okay, I forgive you, but please make sure you follow me. It's Garrow Designs on Instagram. And this is actually a very a popular room that I did this room a few years ago, and sometimes it's sometimes a little bit easier to do design work when you don't have a client in the mix, and when you can actually do your entire inspiration. That's when you get the best work, right? That's like always the case. So when I walked through this house, I made a list of all the things that I would do to the house, and I stuck to my list. And that was always the most successful, when you actually go back to your inspiration. So this room, I painted this brilliant, beautiful turquoisey color, and I contrasted it with these rich, beautiful orange and yellow tones. So I love this space. It's beautiful, it's bright. I have a great exposure to two walls of windows. And also it's an unconventional layout for the room. I pushed the dining table to one side, which is a little bit more off the beaten track. I put a very modern table with a classic setting, and sometimes that push-pull in design is what creates the interest. People also know me from my chalk paneled room, which I did for the Kids Space Show House. It was called the Napoleon Lounge. We did that back in 2016. And it was a chalk panel room, and this portrait of Napoleon was featured in that room. So let's take a look at the powder room. I'm going to take a quick tour of the rest of the dining room. This is actually a very popular corner. It was actually featured in House Beautiful when this was published in House Beautiful in 2016. Come on through. We'll take a look at the powder room, and then we're going to go upstairs and take a look at my office environment. So this is actually one of my favorite little spots in the house. It's a gem of a powder room. This room was actually originally one large powder room, and I felt it was like a little gauche to come off the foyer and come right into a bathroom. I thought that was a little funny. So I put up this wall, and fortunately found this door in the basement that had been taken down out of some other renovation, and I relegated the powder room into that little corner and created this little vestibule for a little bar. And the most beautiful part of this, all you marble fans will be interested to see this gorgeous marble floor. I love it. I think the borders are actually a green strain of blue celeste, and the field is all in a calicotta. And this was actually here when I bought the house, and I had the stone guy hone the whole thing, which I thought was a good idea. And here's our little powder room now. So the powder room was basically relegated into this little corner, which was lovely. And so it makes a little bit more intimacy. It makes it a little bit more private. And you have it's always fun to create a hierarchy of space. I always tell all my clients, it's always important to think about your hierarchy. If somebody's using a powder room, it's sort of nice for them to be, tucked away into the corner, and they don't have to be, when they flush the toilet, they don't have to be afraid to everybody at the party's going to hear them. So I also did this like a little bar. So you're having a party, you have your little serving tray with some drinks. so people can pick up a drink on their way. A beautiful flower arrangement. Always keep cherry blossoms in this room. So let's go upstairs. I'm going to show you how I work in this environment. And this house is actually so quiet, so beautiful, and it's such a sharp contrast to my home in New York City. So in New York, I live right on the Upper East Side. It's a very noisy neighborhood. I live right by a hospital, and I felt like I needed a getaway to find a home where I could actually come to and do some work. I usually do a lot of my drawing work on the weekends. So this sort of feels like it's been one really long weekend. I came up in early March, and I've been working from the house ever since. So here we are at the landing area. This is such a beautiful little space, and it just shows you what back in the 1920s when they designed these houses, they made them so generous. This is a beautiful Palladian window that's actually above the front door. It's a great architectural feature of the house. There's a lot of beautiful light that comes through here. I actually added that skylight because the internal courtyard of the house is a little dark. And now you're looking at the courtyard outside. It's lovely out there, isn't it? So come on up. Let's come up. So here is, I'll just give you a quick look at my bedroom. Hello. Come on up. So here we go. On the right over here is my master bedroom, which is a really grand space. I love it. It's a great room. I always joke that this room is actually 4 times the size of my bedroom in New York City. Believe it or not, it's a little crazy, but yeah, it literally is 4 times the size of my bedroom in New York. And I'm a huge fan of bed hangings. I love bed hangings. I always use them. I always try and get my clients to use them. And bed hangings are always a nice way of creating a cocoon, like a nice little getaway, a remote little space within a space. I think it's a really successful way of, treating a large room, a large bedroom, making it a little bit more intimate. This is my sitting room. It's a bit of a mess, sorry. I forgot to plump up the pillows, sorry. And this is basically my little winter room. I love using this room in the winter. It's always winter in Canada. I feel like it's still snowing outside. It's May. And, I love to cozy up in this room in the evenings with a good book and, may either watch a video on my iPad or, it's just fun to be in here. I did the wall paneling myself. This is actually very simple passementerie. I purchased this beautiful trim from Samuel & Sons. And I added these 2 lines, and it created a little bit of architecture where there is none. So, come on through. We'll take a look at my office. It's a little bit of a mess, I'm sorry, but it just shows you that during times of COVID, this is what exactly happened. So, I have been working on drawings galore. I have numerous projects that are ongoing. And, as I said, I actually like coming up to this house because I like to do a lot of sketches and drawings. And believe it or not, I've been drawing for the past 8 weeks. Thankfully I've had a lot of projects, which is great. And a lot of my projects are actually in the drawing phase. So that's actually very helpful because, projects have different phases, and the drawing phase you can really be at your desk, and this has actually been a little bit of a blessing in disguise because I have a lot of projects that are on the drawing table right now, so I'm focusing a little bit on that. But it is a bit of a challenge because I do have a couple of other projects that were ongoing, and we have been organizing site meetings via Skype and via Zoom, which is the popular one. And, we get on the phone with the client and the contractor and the mill worker, and we answer a whole bunch of questions. So that's actually been quite novel. And another thing that I do is I do a lot of fabric schematics, and I love doing that. And I shop for tons of fabrics. And those of you who know my work in Instagram, I hope you follow me on Instagram. I think I said that already. Garrow K Designs. I do a lot of color. I love color, and I love fabric. So I'll show you a couple of my schematics, shall I? I'm just going to pull up a couple. There we go. So we do beautiful schematics. Usually we do pallets of fabrics on boards that we send to our clients. This happens to be for a project that I'm working on in Millbrook, New York, which is a beautiful project, a beautiful place in New York. And generally I like to show people color palettes. So I put together fabric schematics so that they're not like in isolation. I don't like making selections of fabric, one fabric at a time. I like to show that, a room has to be sort of an amalgamation of